uses. So we've done a lot of work with a lot of companies, and physicians are the worst, right? So they'll spend $10,000 on the About Me page and all their accolades and where they went to school and what their GPA does. Then you go back and look with Google Analytics at their website 4 months later, they'll have 10,000 people went to what's the phone number, how do I make an appointment, and 5 hits on the About the Doctor page, right? And so people don't search, to get your blood checked by who went to UT Medical Center, right? Nobody cares. People, they're going to find you by how do I get a blood test done? And so think about how people engage in finding a business. So that's why we're really trying to hone in on the resources of just building a website is the very first step in marketing. So that's my speech, but I can't tell you, we work with about 400 entrepreneurs a year, and that's the response from almost everyone is I'm going to build a website. And so they don't talk about how they get people to it. And so that's where you make money, is getting people to your website. So I'll shut up now, Tiff.
You're good. So Mireille.
Yes, ma'am.
So we are ready. So give us a little bit of your history first, and then she's going to give us some tips on actionable SEO that you can institute today and walk out of here and feel like you're taking steps to help your business.
Yes, ma'am. All right. Let me see. You guys just tell me, what do you guys see? You should all see a PowerPoint slide. Is that what you see? Thumbs up. Awesome. Okay. Let's go back here. Okay. So Tiffany asked me to share a little bit about myself. I'd like to delay that if that's okay, because what's really important is getting this information to you guys at this point, and you're going to feel like you're drinking from a fire hose. I appreciate Jeff's introduction, because I came to the SEO space because I saw such a huge need. I'm a professional writer and teacher by training and career history, but there's such a huge need for business owners to understand what search engine optimization is and what do you do with it. And I've been a small business owner. I am a small business owner currently. So this is close to my heart. And I really appreciate what Jeff said, because building the website, it's not enough. If you build it, they're not necessarily going to come. All right. So as a business owner, why should you even care? Is it even important? What exactly is it? And what can I do about it? That's my objective today. So my objectives are to convince you, I want to demonstrate to you why SEO is not optional for your business or your nonprofit. I'm going to give you an aerial view, 30,000 feet up. I feel like I'm probably going to generate more questions with each point that I hit on. I'll generate more questions than I answer. That's natural. Search engine optimization is a approaching $80 billion industry in the United States alone. That is separate from web development. That's separate from social media platforms. This is just, how do you get the search engines to like your page and serve it up first when somebody, or near the top when somebody puts in a query? That's search engine optimization. It's an $80 billion industry. I could teach a 2-hour class on every single bullet point that I hit on in this presentation. So you're going to feel like I'm skimming the surface, and I am. But this isn't the end. We're just getting started. I'm going to talk about that later with one of the actionable items, a plan that I have to make sure that you guys can continue to get the more in-depth information you need. So, and then you're also going to leave with 5 actionable tasks you can take. Okay, so why should you even care about search engine optimization? Well, it just comes down to money. And even if you're the most kind-hearted, altruistic business owner, if you're not making money, you're not going to be in business very long. So at the end of the day, as business owners, we have to be generating a profit. And even nonprofits that don't even like to really get into the dirty word of profit, if you're not utilizing a search engine optimization is your primary marketing strategy, you're missing a whole bunch of people that you could be reaching with your services. The most important thing I want you guys to understand is that leads generated through search engine optimization are very, very valuable. They have a very high conversion rate. So with marketing strategies, SEO tends to come in around a 15% conversion rate, which is phenomenal. That means if you can get yourself ranked on the first page of Google and get somebody to click on your link to your web page, and your web page is well designed so that they'll stay there, you have a better chance of getting that lead to convert into taking action, purchasing your product, or asking for an estimate. 15% is about the average versus outbound marketing, such as email campaigns, direct mail, SMS. That kind of marketing comes in around less than 2%. So search engine optimization, as a business owner, I just can't even think of the word. What would you say, Jeff? It's just silly. It's silly to not be using this strategy. It's so powerful. I'm going to blaze through this really quickly. I just want you guys to understand internet marketing or online marketing. It's any kind of marketing that requires internet. So digital marketing is the big umbrella term for basically anything, any kind of marketing that involves a screen and pixels and technology and digital stuff. Internet marketing falls under digital marketing. SEO, or search engine optimization, is a subset under internet marketing. Search engine marketing is a slightly different. Sometimes they're used interchangeable, but search engine marketing, that's your paid traffic. So that's a Google AdWords campaign, pay-per-click. If you don't know what I'm talking about, that's okay. Hold on to these terms because you can learn if you don't know what I'm talking about. And then of course, social media marketing, that's your ads on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, whatever. So we're talking particularly about search engine optimization. This is what we call organic or free traffic that results from a search query that's typed in. It is not paid marketing. That's different. That's powerful too, but that's a little bit of a different that's a different tool. All right. I think we all know what search engine optimization is in general, so I'm going to blaze through this. What I want to emphasize here, I do have people ask me, well, what about Bing? What about Yahoo? Why is it all about Google? Well, because essentially Google is the internet. Like it or not, it's the truth. The Google search engine holds essentially 92% of all the traffic. Bing, Yahoo, other search engines, their hold is so low that I hate to say it, but don't bother right now. Okay, and does everybody know when I talk about a keyword query, you know what I'm talking about, right? The words that you type into the little box, you know? Okay. So all these search engine results are generated by a keyword query. And the whole point is if somebody is searching for something and I've got what they need, how do I make it sure that Google is going to put me hopefully in the top 3 or at least on the top page? This is just some fun facts, but if you still are not convinced that Google is where it's at, Google handles about 40 to 60,000 queries per second. So just let that sink in, okay? And it's not going away. Friends, I hear people say, oh, search engine optimization is dead. No, it has changed because these little Google search bots that crawl all the data that's out there on the World Wide Web, they just get smarter and smarter and smarter. So it gets harder to trick them by what we call black hat SEO tactics, but SEO is not going away. All right, really quickly, I just want to give you guys this breakdown. When anyone puts in a search query, I want to make sure you understand there's generally on your search results page, you'll see that abbreviated sometimes as SERPs or people will say SERPs, that search engine results page. It's basically broken down into 3 categories. Up here is your paid traffic. These are the ads. People, businesses have paid to be in these spots. Number 2, this is what we call the map pack. This is tied to your Google My Business listing. Last month's call had some really good information about Google My Business. I'll talk more about Google My Business later. This is not organic traffic, but there is a link and there is great value for if you can get yourself so that you land in the top 3 spots in the Google pack and you're on the first page of the organic search results. That's where you want to go.
Maybe you're going to touch on this in a second, but yeah, get yourself in that map pack listing. The number.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk about that. So again, this is the Google My Business listings. So this is not SEO. This is, well, I mean, technically, to get here, you have to register with Google, and it's free. It's a relatively simple process to do that, but everybody that's in business, even if you're a solopreneur or you just got a side gig or a side hustle out of your house, you need a Google My Business listing. And then down here, this is where it's at. This down here, these are what we call the organic results. Okay, and you can see from these statistics, maybe 10 to 20% of users might click on an ad, and it's clearly identified because Google will tell you it's an ad. For me personally, I know a lot of people, if I see ad, I deliberately skip it. Unless they don't like the company, and then I'll click on it just so they have to pay. Because every click, it's called pay-per-click advertising, because every click costs the advertiser a certain amount of money. 30% of people will look for their results here in the map pack, but still over 50% of users care most about the organic listings. Oh, what did I do? Oh, there we go. Okay. Really quickly, I just want to touch on why search engine optimization is so powerful for you, for us as local business owners. More and more and more and more people are searching from a mobile device, a phone or a tablet that's got location, GPS location enabled. And so that is only expected to increase. They expect by even in a year from now, it will be even higher than that. And what is powerful about that I want you guys to understand, and it is even true with your desktop somewhat, but when you have somebody who's searching for something locally, so somebody types in house cleaning service Cookville, or house cleaning service near me, or bookkeeping near me, or bookkeeping, so whatever it is, when you've got a location specific query, that is what you really want to capitalize as a small business owner. So just remember that is rising and rising, and you probably noticed yourself in your own searches as you type in your terms, and Google will auto-populate some additional search terms for you. And near me, have you guys noticed how often near me is popping up now? It's becoming very, very, very popular, and that is tied in to the Google My Business location, because when you register your Google My Business, it drops a pin, is what we call it, drops a pin in your location. But also, it's important that you are using location specific keywords in your website. I'm going to talk more about that. Okay, let's move on. So here's the real question. How do I get Google to like me? How do you get Google to serve up your website close to the top of, if not the top spot of the organic search results? That's what we all want to know, right? Because just because you build the website, they're not going to come. First of all, you just got to know you have to play by Google's rules. We are not in 1995 anymore, where people could do keyword stuffing and all sorts of tricks and shady antics and kind of trick the search engines. Do things on the up and up. And the more relevant what you offer on your website is to what the user is searching or querying, that's the majority of the magic of getting ranked, okay? So your keywords, when we talk about keywords, that's what does a person who's searching, what do they put in that little search box? That's your keywords. And we're finding that more and more and more people are putting in long tail, what we call long tail keywords. So instead of just Italian restaurants, it will be things like Italian restaurants near me with good reviews. They're just getting more and more specific. And long tail keywords are on the rise. But one of my favorite tools for keyword research. So when we're talking about keyword research, we're talking about what words do you need to incorporate into your content on your website, and then also what keywords do you need to be using in the back end. That's what we call the actual coding that happens on the website. What keywords do you need to be using that most closely is going to match your website with what the user is querying? So really, over and over and over again, I cannot emphasize this enough. Content, content, content. Content is king. That is what the Google bots are searching and crawling, is content. If you can't highlight the thing on a website, this is a good little trick. If you can't highlight it, it's not being searched. So images are not searched. Graphics are not searched. So even if you've got those keywords in a graphic, if it can't be highlighted as text, the search engines aren't reading it. So you've got to have good, genuine, unduplicated content. The more the better, but a minimum of 1,000 words. And it needs to be authoritative and relevant, okay? The other thing beyond content that Google is looking for, and this is a result of so many years of people kind of being scammy, search engine optimization, people playing dirty tricks. Google is just getting better and better and better at making sure that the results that they serve up are going to present the best user experience for the searcher. So some of the things that Google uses to determine the influence or the good user experience of your site are things like backlinks. So external other sites that link back to your site. These need to be genuine, high quality backlinks. You don't want links from scammy sites. There are sites that are, we call them link farms, and they exist just to provide backlinks. That will actually do more damage to your site than good, because Google is now, the Google bots are so tuned into making sure that not only does your site need to be good and authoritative and relevant and on the up and up, but the sites that are linking to your site need to be those kind of sites too. So gone are the days when people could trick the search engines by linking to having backlinks from spammy sites like link farms. Citations, that's how many places out on the World Wide Web the name, address, and phone number of your business appears. That is a factor. So the more places you're listed in up and up directories and so forth on the web, that can influence your ranking. The age of your site, the longer your site's been around, Google does take that into effect. They're suspicious of brand new sites. How much traffic do you get on your site? That's important. The more traffic you get, the better. Bounce time, how long do people stay on your page? If your page takes too long to load, people might just, we call that abandonment. All those things factor into what Google's looking for. But in the end, the most important thing is if you are authentically, genuinely doing your very best to provide value and authenticity to the people that come to your site, and you are trying your very best to cater to those likely keyword terms that people are putting in, you're going to do just fine. All right. All right, so there's good news and bad news, and we're in the home stretch now. So I know as a business owner how overwhelming it is. My husband and I ran a chiropractic clinic for several years, and it was incredibly overwhelming because there are so many things that have to be done. As a business owner, it often feels like there are 20 buttons that you need to push all at once in order to make your business run, and you've got 10 fingers. So it can be overwhelming, but there is lots of good news. So the important thing I want you to keep in mind, SEO is powerful, and it can be your most powerful ally, and it will only become more powerful as time increases and people just get more and more dependent and used to turning to the internet for the answers to their questions, the services and products that they need right now. Another good thing is you can learn how to do this. It's not rocket science. There's an abundance of information. It's not, you know, top secret knowledge. There's lots of information out there. It's not that difficult. If you can't pay somebody to do it for you at this point, you can do it yourself. And because we're in a smaller market, here in Cookeville in this area, the competition is not as stiff out there as you're competing for rankings. And so there's very, very good news. A lot of business owners are not even on the platform. They're not even in line to buy a ticket to get on the SEO train right now. So just the fact that you're on this call is putting you ahead of a lot of your competition. Just remember to keep thinking of search engine optimization as the expense that pays for your other expenses. So you're either going to need to invest some money in search engine optimization in your online presence, or you're going to need to do some sweat equity on it. Okay, there is some bad news. The bad news is that it's just really mandatory. That's my word, of course. You can do it or not, but it's so important and so vital and only growing in importance. I think it's really silly. Like, why are you in business if you don't want to reach people? SEO is not difficult, but it is complex, and there are so many moving parts and cogs on the wheel. It's overwhelming. It's very time consuming. So it's going to consume your time or some money if you hire somebody to do it. And it's ongoing. It's not one and done. It's something you have to continually keep doing month after month. And it's volatile. You can work really hard to get your website high up in the rankings. You might even be in spot 1 at 9 o'clock in the morning, and 3 o'clock in the afternoon, somehow you're buried on the 3rd page and you don't know why. Maybe an important backlink was taken down. Maybe some other big player just caught Google's attention. It can be volatile, and that's really frustrating as a business owner when you've got so many other things going on, to have to keep an eye on what's going on with your website, but it is necessary. And just think of it, it's like a competition. You're competing with your competitors out there, and that's another good thing about local. You're not necessarily competing for national ranking against national brands. It's here locally, and so all you got to do is stay one step ahead of your competition, right? Like, how do you not get eaten by a bear? You run faster than the slowest person. So that's some good news for us as business owners. Okay, so here is the gold for you guys. What can you do today? Well, first of all, I think this is the most important. And as Jeff said, get in the right mindset. That's the most important thing you can do, whether you like it or not, and whether you have strong feelings about Google or you're suspicious of Google or whatever. Like, my husband hates Google. He doesn't like to use Google personally because they collect all this information. The reality is, as a business owner, Google is where it's at. So we need to learn how to make it work for us. So number 2 thing that I would like you to do, because I know I have raised tons of questions, we haven't even scratched the surface, please come to my SEO Open Lab. That's going to be this Friday, so 2 days from now, September 4th from 3 to 5 here at the Biz Foundry. I've reserved the conference room for those 2 hours. And so I am at your service, completely free. I'm available for those 2 hours. Bring your laptop and your logins for your website. If you don't have a website, come talk to me and we're going to talk about what we need to do to get you a website. You must have a website. You must have a website. Not just a Facebook page, you must have a website. So come talk to me about that, because there are ways, even if you're just starting out and you haven't made $1 and you're cash flow negative, this is something you need to prioritize. So come talk to me. If you do have a website and you've already got some content up, you already know a little bit about SEO, then the next thing I'd like you to do is to drill down on your keyword research, okay? Figure out the best you can where the volume of searches, what those keywords are. Look for some longer tail keywords. Good tools for that, there's alexa.com. That is a paid service for keyword research, but you can do a free trial. And one free trial will give you all you need for now to do some good keyword research. Answerthepublic.com is another good resource. Think with Google is another good one. I'd start with Alexa, but if you're advanced and you want more, you really want to drill down or expand your keywords, check out Answer the Public, Think with Google, or just brainstorm. Sit down with a piece of paper and ask yourself, if I were searching for fill in the blank in Cookeville, or if I lived here and I was searching for fill in the blank, what words would I use? Ask your friends. Ask some of your customers. Just start asking, be thinking about it, and start trying to figure out how you can hone and refine your keywords. Number 4, work on your content and work on your homepage first. Every single page, if you have a website with multiple pages, every single page can be optimized for search engine recognition separately. So work on your homepage first. Remember, you want a minimum of 1,000 words of real conversational, helpful information. Don't do keyword stuffing where you're just trying to stuff in those keywords every chance you get, because you'll actually be penalized if the percentage of keywords to the rest of your content gets too high. Google doesn't like keyword stuffing. Just remember the 3 A's with your content. Be authentic, so it really is going to be the information that people are looking for. Make it good, useful information, authoritative. Like think Wikipedia. Why does Wikipedia show up so close to the top every time you put a query in for certain information? Well, it's because it's very authoritative and dependable. And make your content accessible. What you don't want to do when a user lands on your homepage is confront them with a big wall of text. We have become skimmers of information online when we are looking for the answer to something that, especially if it's a product or services, I need a good tree service near me. People are not, they don't want to wade through a lot of information. So serve up your information in an easy to digest format. Use lots of bullet points, lists, headlines, chunk it out. Don't throw a big wall of text at them. That will cause a lot of people to just bounce right off your page. And answer the questions that they're looking for right away. Don't make them search and look around. Put yourself in the shoes of the searcher. What do you want to know? What do you want to see first? What are you looking for? Serve that information up first on your website. And then if you feel like you're even more advanced than that, you can do some what we call on-page or on-site optimization from the back end. If you don't even know what I'm talking about, don't worry about it. You're not there yet. But come to my SEO Open Lab and I will you can start your journey of learning that. But when we talk about back-end work on your site, that's the actual HTML coding. So that's stuff like meta page title, H1 tags, keywords, your meta page descriptions or snippets. And again, if that is completely over your head, don't worry about that. That's like step 15, and you might just be at step 1. You might not even have a website yet, so don't worry about that. And last but not least, if you have not submitted or fully optimized your Google My Business listing, do it. Okay, so Google My Business listing, that's not necessarily, it's not directly tied to the organic rankings, but again, it is tied to your location. So if you can be coming up as one of the first results in that map pack in the second section I showed you, if you remember, you can come up there and then also be on the first page of the organic search results. That's the Holy Grail. That's where you're really, you got a good net to capture all the people who are out there searching. That is pretty much what I've got for you today. It probably felt like a fire hose, and I felt like I did a very poor job, barely scratched the surface, but that's what I got for you now, and we can go to questions. That's my contact information if you want to jot that down, or again, come to the Open Lab Friday. The Biz Foundry, if you don't know where that is, it's 114 North Cedar. Is that right, Tiffany? Jeff, is it 114?
That is true. It is 114 North Cedar Avenue, down the street from the hospital, across from Players Billiards.
Yep. All right.
All right. So is there any specific questions that anyone wants to ask? I know she did, you know, like she said, this is a huge industry and there's a lot to learn. But I think she gave some actionable things. The lab, Jade, is going to be at the Biz Foundry on Friday at 3 o'clock. And the Biz Foundry is located at 114 North Cedar Avenue in Cookeville, Tennessee. So for those of you who don't know that we're in Cookeville. What other questions? Is there anything that you're seeing, trends that you're seeing in your own business? Go ahead, Becky.
I think I really appreciated this session, and I think from a nonprofit standpoint, so I work in a public television station, and I would require it's nonprofit, but I wouldn't think what would be needed for that as a nonprofit. You know, you don't think about people trying to find your business, basically.
Yeah, it's very important for nonprofits too. You know, people, you have services to offer and you're passionate about those services. You know, generally nonprofits, they're not so motivated by money, but what they have to offer the public, they're very passionate about. Why in the world would you not want to reach every single person that might be searching or needing what you have to offer?
Yeah, I guess, and sorry, I missed that first part. So I guess I get that, and that makes a lot of sense. I guess what I'm concerned or curious about with an SEO is if you have different parts of your business that you want people to search, how do you make sure that that's represented like on that front page? Like for us, if we want people to search a program, but maybe we also want them to know about a particular event we're doing.
Right.
We want them to know about a partnership we have. How do you make sure that that shows up somewhere?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. So when I said work on the home page first, remember that's just the starting off page, starting points. Because every single page on your website can be and ideally should be optimized separately. So the same way you would optimize your homepage for, you know, general keywords. Oh, someone's searching for a tree service in Cookeville. Well, maybe you also do stump grinding. So you would have a separate page talking about your stump grinding services, and you optimize that for location. So that would be Cookeville or other service areas. You optimize each page separately. So yeah, you would optimize your homepage, but if you had other services or events, you build a page for those separately and optimize them separately. And so then that page itself shows up in the search results. If you are doing a really good job of search engine optimization for your business or organization, you might be able to dominate 3, 4, or 5 of the top organic ranking spots with different pages from your own website. Does that make sense?
Mireille, you said that you should have a minimum of 1,000 words per page. How hard?
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
How hard is that cut off? Because I mean, there's some pages where, you know, it seems like it might want just a bunch of links to something else or not.
Well, let me preface that by saying the more content and the more quality of the content is, the more closely it matches what the Google bots are looking for, the better. But really, when it comes down to it, a lot of it depends on your competition. Who are the players in your market? Just think of it like a competition, because it really is. You know, maybe you show up to a game and the other team doesn't even show up. They're not even there. Your competition doesn't even have a website. Well, that's an easy victory, right? Or you go to the field and you're going head to head with state champs 4 years running. That's going to be a heavier competition. Honestly, you can rank any page for anything and outdo anybody with enough time and money. But yeah, you can rank any page. You put enough money, you invest enough into it. I can rank anything, but it might cost me, you know, tens of thousands of dollars to do
I
it.
have a couple of questions here that came in too. First of all, aside from you, who else can people hire for SEO to manage their SEO?
You know what? There are lots and lots of people right here in Cookeville. The easiest thing is
Do a Google search.
you could do a Google search. I mean, that's really pitiful, isn't it? If someone claims to be an expert in search engine optimization and they don't even show up. So you can do a Google search, ask around. The biggest thing that I would say, I mean, you put search engine optimization near me or search engine optimization Cookeville into Google, you're not going to have any shortage of results, but you will notice a lot of those might be out of Nashville, greater Nashville area. You might even get some results across the country. You'll get a lot of results from really, really big agencies. I caution people, especially local business owners, from working with big agencies or search engine optimization services or freelancers that are not regional. And again, we could talk for hours just on why Google loves local. Google loves local. So the more you keep things local, the better chances you have ranking. And if you hire somebody to do your search engine optimization and they're not familiar with Cookeville or even Tennessee, it's a handicap. Same thing with, you can hire search engine optimization done overseas. You can get really cheap search engine optimization done out of the Philippines or India or whatever. They're not native English speakers. Nothing against them. I think they're brilliant. I don't speak another language.
I was just gonna say, so speaking of just Tennessee, a common Tennessean, to say it the best politically correct I can, is that often people will say, for sale, and they'll say for sell instead of sale.
Yep.
Build misnomenclatures into your SEO because you know that that's how people look for you?
No, I not necessarily. I wouldn't do that, but anything that you can do to show your visitors, your site visitors, that you are local. You know the area, you know the region, you know, so local. I wish we had more time. We could just talk forever
Yeah.
about this.
Well,
Well,
and I'll
Go
give
ahead.
you an example of that, right? So people think they're being cute, and they might be doing hiking in Sparta, and they think it's cute that they'll get more visitors to link to the Smoky Mountains. Well, Google knows that's too far apart. You're not local, right? And Google is way smarter than people. So that's what she's talking about, is keep it local, that you probably don't want to be in Birmingham and add links to the Smokies, because those two don't tie together. And Google's algorithms figure that out pretty quick, that they think, oh, I could steal all the visitors from the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. And that's not how it works. And one more thing, that so we are actually hiring her, because keep that in mind as you build and design your websites, maybe not to start with, but all this starts to matter as you manage it better and better, that you can't just have a website built with no consideration of SEO, because then you'll wind up changing a lot of things. So
Yeah.
we have one last question. I know we're kind of wrapping up on time, and I know you could go on forever. One question specifically was, does blogging help your SEO?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. Google loves new content, and they love local content. So, and blogging is really powerful. It's another really powerful way to get some good to acquire some good authentic backlinks, is, start networking with people, and where you have some relevant information or expertise that you can offer that has something to do with somebody else's business, offer to write them a guest blog post, and then you guys can mutually link to each other's pages. But even if you don't do that, just to add a post to your blog that's relevant to those keywords. Remember, you always got to keep it relevant. But those blog posts, that's gold. Google loves that. So that's another reason why SEO is always ongoing. It's never done, because the more content you add, the better. And as your content ages, Google, we're not going to trick Google. We're not going to trick Google. It wants relevant, authoritative, local, current information. So it is work. There's no doubt about it. Search engine optimization it's an investment, but I think as business owners, it is one of the most important investments in your marketing strategy. So if you are currently marketing, I would recommend that you reallocate where you're spending resources in other forms of traditional marketing. I would reallocate some of that budget to search engine optimization. If you're just starting out, or you don't have a lot or no marketing budget at all, you're going to have to do some sweat equity, but you can't ignore it. It's only going to become more and more relevant, even in little old Cookville, as time goes on.
All right. Thank you so much. Like I said, I'm sure you could go on. If you guys want more in-depth one-on-one, look at your website or what you're doing, come to the Biz Foundry this Friday, 3:00. We're at 114 North Cedar Avenue, Cookville, Tennessee, for wherever people are calling in from, just on the street from the hospital. So hopefully we have some of you takers to come by then. For those who are interested in upcoming LBRC, so that's Local Business Resource Collective events, we have these calls every other week. Our next call is going to be September 16th. That's a Wednesday night at 7:30 p.m. And so it's called Inclusive Community. It's going to be a community call on diversity. So we have a panel of minority business owners. The call is going to be moderated by Dee Prince. And I think it's going to be a really great event. And I think it's going to be a great opportunity for this business community to come together and bridge some gaps in race diversity that we haven't touched on in the past. So I really hope that you'll join us for that. You will get an email link after this with that link in there. And then on the 29th, we're doing website and online commerce. I have my calendar here of all the events that we're doing. And that one is going to be at 1 o'clock. We just had to change the time on that one. So those are the upcoming calls for this coming month. Please let me know if there's something that you like to see, something that you feel like you're missing from these calls. I really want this is for you. This is for this community to come together, and we want to serve you the best way we can and give you the content that you're desiring. So once again, I'm Tiffany Anton with the Biz Foundry, and I really appreciate y'all jumping on today. Any other last minute anything? All right. Thank you guys so much for being a part of this. Thank you, Mireille, for all. And hopefully we'll see some of you on Friday for some one-on-one.
See you then.
Thank you, guys.